The Minamata disaster. This tragic event took place in Minamata, Japan, during the 1950s and 60s. The cause? Industrial mercury pollution from the Chisso Corporation's chemical factory. The contaminant involved was methyl mercury, which severely affected the local residents and wildlife. The health impacts were devastating, leading to Minamata disease, a neurological syndrome, severe mercury poisoning, birth defects, and numerous deaths. In response, there were significant improvements in industrial waste management regulations, compensation to the victims, and extensive environmental cleanup efforts. The Love Canal disaster. This occurred in Niagara Falls, New York, USA, during the 1970s. The disaster was caused by the dumping of toxic chemical waste by the Hooker Chemical Company into an abandoned canal. Over 21,000 tons of toxic chemicals, including dioxins, were involved. The affected population included the residents of the Love Canal neighborhood. Health impacts were severe, including birth defects, miscarriages, cancer, and other chronic illnesses. The response included the evacuation of affected residents, the creation of the Superfund program for cleaning up hazardous waste sites, and legal actions against the responsible company. The Bhopal gas disaster, 1984. This catastrophic event took place in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, India, on December 2nd and 3rd, 1984. The cause was a gas leak from the Union Carbide India Limited pesticide plant. The contaminant was methyl isocyanate gas, which exposed over 500,000 people. The health impacts were immediate and severe, with estimated deaths ranging from 2,000 to 10,000. Along with chronic respiratory problems, eye irritation, birth defects, and long-term health complications. The response included compensation to the victims, legal battles for accountability, and ongoing health and environmental remediation efforts. Chernobyl disaster, 1986. The Chernobyl disaster occurred in Chernobyl, Ukraine, then part of the Soviet Union, on April 26, 1986. The catastrophe was caused by an explosion and fire at Reactor 4 of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. This disaster led to the release of radioactive materials including iodine-131, cesium-137, and strontium-90. The affected population included workers, nearby residents, and broader regions in Europe. The health impacts were severe, with immediate deaths of plant workers and emergency responders, cases of acute radiation syndrome, increased cancer risks, particularly thyroid cancer, and long-term environmental contamination. In response, nearby populations were evacuated, the Chernobyl exclusion zone was established, international aid and scientific studies were conducted, and the new safe confinement structure was constructed to encase the damaged reactor. Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster, 2011. The Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster took place in Fukushima Prefecture, Japan on March 11, 2011. It was triggered by an earthquake and subsequent tsunami, which led to failures at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. Radioactive materials were released, including iodine-131, cesium-134, and cesium-137. The affected population included plant workers, local residents, and the broader environment. While there were no immediate deaths from radiation, long-term cancer risk studies are ongoing. Significant displacement of residents and psychological effects were also noted. The response involved the evacuation and resettlement of affected populations, ongoing decontamination efforts, decommissioning of the plant, and international reviews of nuclear safety standards. Summary: these environmental disasters highlight the severe consequences of industrial and nuclear accidents on human health and the environment. They underscore the importance of stringent safety regulations, robust disaster preparedness, and effective response mechanisms to mitigate such risks in the future.